Today's short is being brought to you by Goya Foods. If it's Goya, it has to be good.
Your daily game plan for success. It's Sachs in the Morning. Steve Sachs.
Hi, Steve Sachs here with Sachs in the Morning, and welcome to Tuesday, November 8th. And we are going to continue our talking about playoff performance. That's the theme for this week. So today's a great day to continue our playoff performance theme. I mentioned Michael Jordan, arguably the best player to ever play basketball. Consider this. When it matters most, he didn't disappoint. He actually took everything to another level. And to this day, his postseason scoring average of 33, nearly 33 and a half points per game in postseason has not been broken. He was in the playoffs 11 times, and he averaged 30 points in the NBA Finals for the 6 times he and the Bulls won the championship. And guess what? He was the MVP all 6 times. That's playoff performance. When people are measuring you as a standard bearer of what's the greatest in playoff performances, you know you've done something. So let's look at football and Aaron Rodgers, the Green Bay Packers quarterback that led the Packers to the Super Bowl in 2010. But to get there, he had to beat the Atlanta Falcons. That they did with a 48-21 victory that saw Aaron perform nearly flawlessly with 31 of his 36 passes completed and a touchdown run of his own. That's playoff performance, and it'll go down as arguably his best game of his career. And yes, they won the Super Bowl that year as well. Women's tennis has a few names that you will recognize: Serena and Venus Williams, Chris Evert, Martina Navratilova. All have won at the highest level when the pressure was the greatest. Martina actually beat Evert in a much hyped-up U.S. Open in 1983, even though Evert had a better record coming into the tournament. That's a pretty darn good playoff performance. And how could I not mention one of the most challenging mental games of all, golf? You already probably know the name I'm going to reference here. Of course, Tiger Woods. How many times was the last putt the deciding stroke of the game? How many times was he playing with injuries and personal trauma? And with 15 major golf wins, he is arguably the best player of all time. Remember, playoff performance is not about necessarily being the best all the time. It's almost impossible. You know, every one of the players that I mentioned has lost. And get this, they've all lost more than they've won. Every one of them. It's about having the capacity, the training, and the practice, but most of all, the mindset and determination to do your best when it's necessary. And that is something that each of us can do when it's our time to be called into that big game or that presentation or the new job or that big account that you're trying to get. The need to be out there for your family, your friends. The playoff performance is not just for professional athletes. It's for everybody. How are you going to bring your best performance when it counts? Will you be one that's seen as that person that you have to have with you to do your best? And then just go out and do what you know that you have to do. And that's my short for today. If you like what you heard, give us a positive review, subscribe, and share. Also, remember that the Sachs in the Morning swag is now available on my Instagram site. Go to SachsInTheMorning_podcast. You'll see it right there on the Instagram, and just hit the link. Everything's there: mugs, hats, tumblers, you name it. Take advantage of it. And thanks to Al Hendrickson Toyota for their support of this podcast. And be sure to visit alhendricksontoyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.